Good morning, everyone. It's so nice to be back, and I'm really sorry if I haven't posted a vlog for the past few weeks. I'm just really tied up with work, with my hobbies, newfound hobbies, and I've been on a holiday, so I do apologize. But I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you guys because I have already more than 1,000 subscribers, and I really feel happy about it because the more subscribers I have, and the more views I have, of course, the more people I get to reach out and I get to spread all the information that you need to know to be a nurse in the UK. So I'm really happy that I get to help a lot of people because of that. Another thing to celebrate today is that I've been here for 6 months already. Time really flies, and I haven't really noticed it's been 6 months already. So I'm kind of adjusting already with everything. So I'm still alive. So So for today's video, I would like to share with you my personal struggles and challenges here in the UK, living here for the past 6 months. I'm going to tackle all of those. I think you guys need to know, especially for those people who are only planning or about to come here in the UK. So without further ado, let's get started. Got 7 in the list, and the first thing that I want to talk about is the weather. The weather is really different compared to my home country, which is the Philippines. And I know I've already mentioned this in my previous vlogs. So in the Philippines, we only have a wet and dry season. Here in England, there are 4 seasons. No matter what the season is, actually, whether it's summer, winter, autumn, it's always cold. There are instances where during summer, the heat index was like 39 degrees Celsius, if I'm not mistaken, or 37 degrees Celsius, which is just normal in the Philippines. But here, the heat is really different, I would say. But most of the time, it would be raining, it would be cold, it would be windy. So that's really a struggle for me. Now I'm kind of adjusting, but before, for the past few months, it's been really hard because I always have to make sure I wear proper clothing when I go outside. So sometimes it's not enough that I wear long sleeves just like this. I have to do layering of clothes, and sometimes I fail to wear a thick jacket, So something that really challenged me with regard to the weather is actually what they call SAD, or seasonal affective disorder. It's actually a mood disorder that exhibits depressive symptoms. Sometimes I would find myself waking up in the afternoon or in the morning, and I would find the environment really gloomy. My room is very dark, and it kind of affects my mood, It makes me feel sad, depressed. Sometimes I just want to be stuck in my bed. I don't want to do anything. I have less energy. Sometimes I overeat. And I can't really explain, I just feel really down sometimes, and I would miss my family. I would let you know later on what are the things that I had to do in order for me to deal with this kind of depressive mood or something. So the second thing that challenged me when I came here in the UK is the language barrier. Obviously, I do speak and understand English. I'm an English teacher, so communication should not be a problem for me, right? But still, sometimes it would be difficult for me to pick up the accent of the person I'm talking to. Sometimes the pacing is just too fast when they talk to me, and I find it really challenging to pick up what was being said. A tip for you guys, if ever that happens to you and you really don't understand what the person is talking about, then you just literally ask the person to slow down and say, can you speak slowly? I didn't understand that. Can you repeat that again? So don't ever feel embarrassed that you didn't understand what was being said. I know English is a universal language, but we are not native speakers, and it's understandable that we don't get what they mean the first time. The third challenge for me here in the UK is the workflow. So obviously, in each area or each workplace that you go into, whether you're a nurse or not, you would struggle initially to understand the workflow, to remember the workflow. I actually experienced that situation a lot of times So I had to deal with that by taking down notes. If I learned something new regarding the workflow, I would take down notes. That way I won't have to ask the person multiple times about the same topic, because it can really get annoying, you know. If I was in their shoes, I would get annoyed as well if I'm asked multiple times about the same question, right? So we also have to work on that for our progress. The fourth challenge for me are the policies here in the UK, especially in my workplace. So I noticed the culture here in the UK is that people are very by the book. They always follow what's written in the book, the policies. They do take that seriously. And it's really hard for me because I am a very realistic kind of person. For example, let's say when we take the vital signs, okay? So when I receive my patients from where I came from, which is in the Philippines and in Saudi Arabia, I work in both countries. Initially, you would want to assess the patient by taking their vital signs, because you don't want to rely on the previous vital signs that's been taken by your colleague, not because you don't trust them, but because you want to have your own baseline of assessment, right? But in here, as per policy, if the new score is zero meaning the patient is stable, the vital signs are normal, then you can take the vital signs in the next 4 or 6 hours, meaning it's not a priority to assess the patient's vital signs. Do you know what I mean? So I find it hard to adjust to that, because who knows, right? In the next 4 or 6 hours, the patient might become hypotensive or the temperature might rise. And, you know, if you're not gonna get a baseline assessment, how would you know that the patient is fine? Something like that. So, but then, since I've been here for 6 months already, I learned how to trust with the policies. Anyway, the policies would not be there if it's not been evidence-based. So I just really have to go with the flow here. The fifth challenge that I've encountered here in the UK is colleagues or workmates. As the saying goes, you cannot please everyone, right? So for the past 11 years that I've been working, I've communicated and met a lot of different people with different personalities, and there will always be that one or a few people that makes your life harder at work. I don't take it personally. When you work, you have to keep in mind that you have to act professionally. Okay, so I know it's really hard to do that, but there has to be boundaries. Your professional life is different from your personal life. So whatever happens at work, it's work. It's not something about you. And what I do regarding this is, if I am working with a colleague that's hard to work with, or you know, that has a different personality than mine, I just do focus on my strengths. I spill all my energy for the betterment of my work, you know. So I do focus with my patients. I prioritize my patients' safety and stuff like that. The next challenge that I have encountered here is the food. Back home, I'm used to eating Filipino food, right? And I'm also used to someone cooking for me, either my mom or our household. I'm not really gifted with a skill for cooking, so I'm inexperienced when it comes to that. So I find it really challenging when I came over here. I'm alone here, so I don't have anybody to depend on for my food. But you know what? I've learned how to embrace the British culture, the British food. I like their food actually. It's very simple, especially the breakfast. To be fair with, I like other cuisines as well. So I can try Japanese, Chinese, Thai, Mexican, my favorite. And whenever I miss Filipino food, I just go to YouTube or go to Panlasang Pinoy. I'm sure you know that website. That's where I get all my recipes. Last but not the least is homesick. Yes, I do feel homesick here, and everybody feels that. Anyone who has left their home country or the place where they call home would definitely feel homesick. You know, the feeling of missing everything in your house, not just your family, but the environment, the food, the weather. Especially for me, I have kids. I have a boy and a girl. and they've been with me since they were born, so I find it really difficult to adjust to that. I would find myself sometimes very sad when I stumble upon their pictures and videos on my phone. It's just really difficult for me emotionally to be apart from them. What I do to deal with that is to avoid looking at their pictures and videos. For some reason, it just really makes me feel sad. So I avoid looking at those, but then I still communicate with them. Sometimes I would leave sweet messages via text when I wake up or before I go to sleep, just so they would know that they're still being loved by their mom and that they are always remembered. So those are my 7 personal struggles here in England so far for the past 6 months. And now I'm gonna give you some tips on how you can survive homesickness, because I believe the feeling of homesickness is a never-ending battle for people like us who is away from our family.
Now, I'm going to share with you 8 best practices of mine that I apply whenever I feel homesick. So the very first thing, obviously, is to go out and get some sun. Obviously, when it's raining, you cannot go out. I mean, you can still go out, but then you don't really want to get wet, right? I get out usually to get some sun or meet friends. Especially for me, I'm a very extrovert kind of person. I would say I'm an ambivert. So I'd like to go out at times, but sometimes I'd like to be just indoors as well, just stay in my room, do my own thing, do journaling, stuff like that. But whenever I go out, what I would do is just go in the park. I find the nature very therapeutic. I do cycling, I do exercise. It's either by running, brisk walking, or just the outdoor gym. Usually I would feel really good after doing some exercise. But you know what, you can also do some exercises at home. Like I said, if it's raining, when you start to sweat, you will actually feel good, believe me. So I have here my dumbbells and my mat, which I ordered from Sports Direct, which you can do so as well. The second one that I do whenever I feel homesick is to buy my favorite food and drinks. So I tend to overeat sometimes, which is bad for my figure. I would order different cuisines. I personally like sushi, so I do that, or Mexican food, spicy food basically. Indian food, it really depends on my mood. And then I would pair it with a milkshake. So even if it's cold, I still drink milkshake. Sometimes I would get an iced coffee. That's also one of my favorites. And red wine. It really relaxes me, especially at night before I go to sleep. So yeah, buy your favorite food and drinks, pamper yourself, and you should be fine. One of the most important things to overcome homesickness is to make yourself busy, right? So I personally like journaling, blogging, and vlogging as well. I'm really big when it comes to documentation. It's because I'd like to go back to the things that happened to me previously regarding my family, my friends, or my travels. I just like going back to it, and it makes me feel happy. Another thing that I do is I make myself busy by sorting out my previous pictures and videos. So sometimes you tend to leave pictures and videos on your phone that you don't really need, so I delete some of those, put them in folders just to sort them out, and post pictures or videos that I haven't been able to post because of work. So yeah. 4 is to video call with your friends or family. You have no idea how much time it eats when you start talking to your friends or your family. So there was one time when I was feeling really homesick, and I started to talk with some of my friends and my family, and it actually took me half the day just talking to them. And it made me feel better, so that's really good, you know, catching up with them. One that I usually do as well is to do a virtual movie date with my friends, of course. I don't have a boyfriend. I don't need one. But yeah, it's really nice because you can do movie marathon now virtually with your friends. I normally do this with my son. We do watch our favorite series together, and it's really fun. I'm not sure if you tried it, but yeah, I think it's a very good alternative to watching a movie together, like physically together. The sixth one that I do, but not all the time, is to order anything online. If you have a spare money, then why not buy that one thing that you've been wanting to buy for long, right? I would say that I'm kind of an impulsive buyer, only when it comes to clothes. That's it. But when it comes to gadgets, for example, I'm not really big on that. I'm guilty when it comes to shopping clothes. It usually takes months for me before finally buying that one thing that I really wanted to get, just because, you know, I have to consider the price and I have to consider the question, do I really need it right now? Because if I don't buy it. But it makes me feel good, of course, if I get to order online something that I really wanted to. So next one, which is really silly of me, is I listen to loud music, like loud pop songs in my room, and I dance like no one is watching. Well, technically nobody's watching, right? So I can just dance all the way. And I think when you do that, your body releases an endorphin, which is happy hormone, and it makes you feel happy. It makes you feel good about yourself. Last but not the least is to look at your bank account. So you have to keep on reminding yourself the very first reason why you left your family and your home country to work. It's because of money, right? One of the reasons. Anyway, you're not here to just purely work. You're here to have fun. You're here to save money. And when you look in your bank account, it's going to remind you that, hey, I'm actually doing something really good. And I'm saving money. I'm financially independent. So personally, that really makes me feel good. Right, so those are the practices that I've been doing to deal with my homesickness. For those who are going abroad for the very first time, I have a few tips for you guys. Once you reach England or the UK, I would say focus on your goal. Focus on the very reason why you came over here. Always fight that feeling of homesickness. Because imagine a lot of people have been wanting to be in your place, and you know, you're already here, so just make the most out of it. Always make time for yourself. I know these are simple words, but if you really get into it, like you make time for yourself, do the things that you want to do the hobbies that you want to do, just discover yourself and the things that you really wanted to do, then I would say you will feel better. Aspire more than what your job can offer, which means be hungry for progress. There are a lot of opportunities here to progress from being a band 5, going to band 6, 7, 8, or whatever. If you focus on that, if you look for opportunities, there would always be one. And I find that really exciting. Socialize or broaden your network, because believe me or not, no one is an island. Whether you're an extrovert or an introvert, you would always need somebody to help push you up to the ladder of success and to just literally make you happy, right? Next one is save, of course. Don't spend all your money for nothing, like for material things. You can always buy whatever you want, but also take time to consider that you cannot work forever, or you cannot work all your life. So you also have to save, not just for yourself, but for your family, people who are depending on you. And lastly, pamper yourself. I know, keep on repeating myself, but I just want to emphasize that you need to make yourself happy. Prioritize yourself, because if you're not going to take care of yourself, who's going to take care of the people that depends on you, right? So focus on the betterment of yourself. Don't feel guilty if you give more time to yourself. Just basically focus on what's going to make you happy. And if you're happy, then you can make everybody happy as well. All right, so I do hope that whatever I shared here made sense to all of you. And I, again, do hope that it somehow helped you guys to have an idea what to do or how to deal with homesickness and struggles here in the UK. I think I've been talking too much already, so if you have any questions, any recommendations, suggestions on the content that you want me to tackle, just feel free to send a message personally or just leave a comment. By the way, for all those people who's been leaving comments or messages to me, don't you worry, I'm going to answer all of you guys. I had time today to do so. And I apologize for the delay, but thank you for the support. I will see you again soon. Bye.